Dear learners, we have come to another interesting topic and much awaited one. In this section, we will talk about import documentation process. Here, let's take the same example of the shipment where the first company is Canada Corporation, which is based out of the city Toronto in the Canada, and this company is selling goods called as potatoes. Also, this company has the nearest port called as Port of Quebec, which is used to ship the goods from Canada. Now, our second company in this example is India Corporation, which is based out in Bhiwandi in the India, and the nearest port for this company in India is the Mumbai port. So simply in our example, Canada Corporation is an exporter and India Corporation is an importer. Now, we had assumed that India Corporation needs 1000, that is 1000 kilograms of potatoes from Canada Corporation. So in previous session, we had seen the detailed process of steps like first point, sending inquiry of the products, second, sending code of the inquired products, third, sending purchase order to seller, fourth, acknowledging purchase order, 5, pro forma invoice is issued, 6, payment, 7, making material ready for shipment, 8, certificate of inspection is completed, 9, certificate of origin is prepared, 10, create commercial invoice, 11, create packing list, 12, get export permit, 13, picking and packing the material, 14, create bill of lading, 15, get insurance certificate, 16, export declaration filing, 17, freight service to pick up material is booked, 18, material is shipped from seller premises, 19, material arrives at the seller's shipping port, 20, material is shipped from the seller's shipping port to buyer port, which is Mumbai in our example. Now our next step was customs clearance in India. So here in all these above steps, we had bunch of certain documents that were generated by buyer, seller and different authorities. So some of the mandatory documents that are required for making important step of import is called as filing bill of entry at customs. Now, what is bill of entry? A bill of entry is a legal document that is required to be filed by importers or their customs brokers with the customs authorities when goods are imported into a country. It serves as a declaration by the importer providing details of the imported goods, their value and other relevant information required for customs clearance. Now here's a breakdown of the key components and purposes of a bill of entry. First one is importer details. So the bill of entry includes information about the importer such as their name, address and tax identification number. This helps customs authorities identify the party responsible for importing the goods. The second point is description of the goods. So it provides a detailed description of the imported goods, including their quantity, weight, dimensions, and any applicable product codes or classifications. Now, this information helps customs officials assess the nature and type of goods being imported. The next point is value declaration. So the bill of entry includes the declared value of the imported goods, which is used to assess customs duties, taxes, and other charges. So the declared value should accurately reflect the transaction value of the goods, including any additional costs such as freight and insurance. The next fourth point is country of origin. It specifies the country of origin of the imported goods. This information is crucial for determining eligibility for preferential tariff treatment under trade agreements and for enforcing trade regulations. The fifth point is customs tariff classification. The bill of entry includes the customs tariff classification code or harmonized system, which is HS code, for the imported goods. Now, this code is used to categorize goods for customs clearance and to determine applicable duties and taxes. The next sixth point is declaration of customs duties and taxes. It declares any customs duties, taxes or other charges payable on the imported goods. Now, this information is used by customs authorities to assess and collect the appropriate duties and taxes from the importer. The seventh point is supporting documents. The importer may be required to attach supporting documents to the bill of entry such as invoices, packing lists, certificate of origin, and permits or licenses depending on the nature of the goods and requirements of customs authorities. The next eighth point is signature and declaration. The bill of entry is typically signed by the importer or their authorized representative, certifying the accuracy and completeness of the information provided. It also includes a declaration stating that the importer will comply with all customs regulations and requirements. So in our case, bill of entry is filed by India Corporation or their customs broker with India Customs Authorities. Now, the purpose of filing bill of entry is this document formally declares the imported goods to Indian customs. In our example, the bill of entry will include the shipment information from the bill of lading, including the product description, which are potatoes. It will also include HS code, quantity, value, and country of origin, which is Canada in our case. Now, important question is when the bill of entry needs to be made. Is it okay to make it when the material is still on the sea, or is it mandatory to make the bill of entry only when the material is arrived at the port? So the answer to this question is there is usually a window of opportunity to file bill of entry before the physical arrival of the goods. Usually bill of entry is filed before the arrival. Ideally, the bill of entry should be filed shortly before the ship carrying the goods is expected to arrive at the port. This allows customs authorities to begin the clearance process efficiently upon arrival. There is also some grace period in some countries which might offer a grace period of a few days after the ship arrives to the port. However, this is not universally applicable and delays can lead to demurrage charges, which includes fees for holding shipping containers at the port. So here's why filing the bill of entry beforehand is beneficial. First one is faster clearance. So pre-filing allows customers to initiate the assessment process, potentially leading to a smoother and faster clearance once the goods arrive physically. Second point is reduced costs. Avoiding delays at the port minimizes the chances of incurring demurrage charges. Third one is better planning and coordination. So early filing allows for better planning and coordination between the importer, customs broker, and other stakeholders involved in the import process. It's important to consult with your customs broker or the relevant customs authority in India to understand the specific time frame for filing the bill of entry for your product's import. They can advise you on the exact deadlines and any potential grace periods that may apply. So once the bill of entry is filed with the customs authorities, the next step is import duty payment, if it is applicable for those goods and services defined by country policies. So in our example, import duty is paid by India Corporation. Now the purpose of this payment is, based on the product and its HS code, Indian customs may assess import duties which needs to be paid before clearance. Now let's understand how import duty is usually calculated. In this step, we have seen that import duty, also known as customs duty or tariff, is calculated based on various factors, including the classification of the imported goods, their declared value, and any applicable trade agreements or preferential tariff schemes. The process for calculating import duty typically involves the following steps. First one is classification of goods. The first step in calculating import duty is to determine the classification of the imported goods according to the harmonized system, which is HS code. The HS code is an internationally standardized system for classifying goods based on their characteristics and composition. Each product is assigned a specific HS code which determines the applicable import duty rates. The second point is valuation of goods. The next step is to determine the customs value of the imported goods. The customs value is the price paid or payable for the goods when sold for export to the importing country, adjusted for certain costs such as transportation, insurance, and any other charges incurred before the goods arrive at the port of entry. The customs value serves as a basis for calculating import duty. Now, application of duty rates. That's the third point. Once the goods are classified and their customs value is determined, the applicable import duty rates are applied based on the HS code classification. Import duty rates vary depending on factors such as the type of goods, their country of origin, and any preferential trade agreements or tariff concessions in place. The fourth point is the calculation of duty amount. So the import duty amount is calculated by multiplying the customs value of the goods by the applicable duty rate expressed as a percentage. For example, if the customs value of a product is $1,000 and the applicable duty rate is 10%, the import duty will be around $100. Additional taxes and charges, which is our next point. In addition to import duty, imported goods may be subjected to other taxes and charges, such as value-added tax (VAT), excise duty, or specific custom fees. Now, these charges are calculated based on the customs value of the goods and any applicable tax rates or regulations in the importing country. The sixth point is trade agreements and tariff preferences. Import duty rates may be affected by trade agreements or preferential tariff schemes between the importing country and the exporting country. Under such agreements, reduced duty rates or duty exemptions may apply to certain goods imported from eligible trading partners. Overall, the calculation of import duty involves a combination of factors, including the classification of goods, their declared value, applicable duty rates, and any additional taxes or charges. Importers should be aware of the customs regulations and duty rates applicable to their imported goods to accurately calculate the total landed cost and ensure compliance with import laws and regulations.